We can ask the question down below. Go ahead. As they say, comment in chat. I think the fact that he doesn't get affected by Ice Bomb is teaching new players not to use the Ice Bomb against him, and all of you
Today is the third and final part of my interview with Doom Eternal's game director, Hugo Martin. Now, if you missed the two previous ones, we talked about some lesser shared things, like the real reason behind Eternal's switch in art direction from 2016 to Eternal, the inspiration why Eternal is more of a skilled shooter over 2016's more casual experience, and we even talked of a cutscene that didn't make it into the game. Of course, among a few other things, so if you want to check those two previous videos out, you can click on the little eye in the top right hand corner of your screen, or if you want to see all the interviews in full back to back, I will have a dedicated playlist for those. But anyways, today is the final part with Hugo Martin. In this concluding interview, we again start talking about some lesser known things and even get a little bit more personal with Hugo. Speaking of his transition from games to movies and back to games and what those two different industries are like, we also talk a little bit more about the creative process and being willing to jump into new things and trying them out for yourself, and some possible changes coming to Doom Eternal in the future. And lastly, we talk about Tag 2's Backlash, specifically getting him to talk about it on a more personal level, an inside feel of how devs perceive hate, or at least how id Software perceived that crazy amount of backlash for the lack of challenge in Tag 2. Something that I thought was really important because I especially have been guilty of ripping devs and their games apart and claiming that they don't care, or at least don't have that passion as much as they should. So I think Hugo's response to that is important for all of us here because I think we're all guilty of that to some extent. But with that being said, I'll shut the hell up and let's jump back into the interview. I'd argue that as a creative person, or if you're in the artistic field, that sense of awe is gone because you start analyzing everything. And as a game director then, are you capable of enjoying video games or movies as a consumer, or is that just something that's also completely gone?
No, it's annoying. The everything is ruined by my profession. So I can't, my wife tells me all the time she can't stand watching anything with me because I've gotten better at this, like trying to just lose myself in the experience, and I'm addicted to that. Like I want to get to the fun zone of any experience to like, now I experience everything like with like a lab coat on, you know, like I will seek out where their engagement loop. Oh, I'm feeling it. I'm in it now. Like, let's take notes of what that is. Like, that's kind of how I do everything. I want to get there because I do need to get there to analyze what it feels like, you know, and why I got there, what the journey to their fun zone was like, to their engagement loop, to the core of their experience. I just did that with Ghost of Tsushima, you know, like, and then when I'm there, I have to like just lose myself and enjoy it. But I also have like this pressure on me to like move on to the next thing, because the worst thing that a director could be is uninformed. And like, you know, you can't be a game director who doesn't play games, or, you know, show me a movie director who doesn't watch movies religiously. That's not a good director of anything. So like, it is what it is. It's not good or bad, I suppose.
Yeah, I figured as much because, like, you know, I don't want to compare it to content creation, but that's the same thing. Like, me watching YouTube is just the same thing. How do they deliver their commentary? If they made a joke, how did they land it? And then, you know, the type of footage that they're showing, and then what would you do differently? So I was just curious on the position you were in if you did the same thing.
If you're just, you know, if you're curious, that's really all you need. You know, you, like you said, right? You just look at, I always tell young people that I get an opportunity to talk to in any circumstance, I'm like, just don't get out of the stands and onto the field and realize that white line that is separating the two of you, just step over it. That's it. Start thinking about the things that you love from a critical perspective and enable yourself to then transition from the audience to the stage. And it's fantastic. And there's nothing stopping you from doing it. Nothing. You know, like, so the fact that you do that, that's it. That's awesome.
Forgive me, I'm a bit of a newbie when it comes to movies, but if I'm not mistaken, you were in the filming industry, correct?
I was.
So going from movies over to games, was there any hurdles or obstacles that not so many people are aware of? If I remember correctly, you said you were hired at Naughty Dog on the spot.
I was, yeah, but that was before I worked in film. That was me right out of school. So that was my first job, which was amazing. If I'm being really honest, what else should I be? The mentality in Hollywood is it's just different. You're together for shorter periods of time. They're shorter, more intense projects. Most people are contract, and there's a certain mentality that project has, the sort of the vibe in the office that those projects bring. That is really awesome. It's awesome, but it's, you know what I mean? Like I need this thing. I'm going to tell you what I think. This sucks. Let's move on. What's going on? You know, should this person be here? I don't think they know what they're doing. You know, like we don't have time to, there's no time to like, hey, we'll train you up, you know what I mean, so that was a shift for me when I came to it, you know, like I knew what that was like. I mean, it was like that at Naughty Dog, and to a certain degree it was like that, but Blur was also like just super fast, you know, like that was the coolest thing about being at Blur, was like sink or swim, man. Like there's this incredible feeling. I would encourage any young person who's entering any field, but certainly the creative field, if you have this constant pressure that you think you're going to get fired, there's an aspect of that if in a healthy sense can be very motivating. Like I had a fear at Blur that I needed to get better and able to be able to execute, you know, on a day-to-day basis to earn my spot there, and that motivated me. You know, it felt amazing. You know, it really did.
Like you said, regardless of what field it is, I agree. Limitations, deadlines, it makes the best out of anyone, regardless of what we're talking. I used to be in construction, and my grandfather ran the construction company, and he would like teach me one day, and the next day, if I didn't know, hey, my ass is off the job.
That's it. Get this guy out of here, right? I mean, like, because you're working alongside someone. We got shit to do, you know, like, and I don't know, it's good for you. So it's an intense work environment, and then coming to it, it's a company. You know, it's Marty is building a kind of team that is built to last, you know, and I work with people who've been there for 20 years, you know, and I've been there now for 8 years, and our, you know, we have barbecues, and HR puts on functions, and our kids Halloween trick-or-treat, you know, in the office, like, and that is awesome. And now I'm an advocate for that. Like, I bring over my friends that I still have in the movie industry, and I tell them about that. I'm like, it's not a pirate ship, you know, that's where we're from. It's like a pirate ship. This is more like a cruise ship. This is like the Love Boat. Like we're gonna be together for a pretty long time, you know, like, and the project's gonna last like 3 to 4 years, and like, you know, and it's about building a sense of a culture and a community, you know, like, and supportive of each other. So it's awesome. It's again, good problems, not a problem, good, just it was a welcomed adjustment.
Yeah, that's crazy too, that Hollywood works like that compared to the gaming industry. Then, from what I hear, id Software specifically is very intimate, like no other company. So that had to be quite a change.
It was, and I'm speaking of the freelance project, a part of working on a film. Like, again, Blur has a culture, of course they do. You know, like, but yeah, when you're freelance, a hired gun, you know, like 3 months at a time contract gets renewed every 3 months. I mean, you know, man, it's you're a mercenary, and you better be able to hang, you know, and but that's also, man, that'll make you good, dude. It feels good. It's a good, intense experience. Good experience for anybody. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Okay, so I got one last question, I guess movies / Hollywood related, but Mortal Kombat comes out, or I think it actually came out last night, as of this recording, of course. It seems like more and more games are being adapted to the big screen, with Borderlands coming out or being worked on, and then we had Assassin's Creed movie that no one seemed to like a couple years ago. What are your thoughts on movie adaptations of video games? Do you think they have a place, or is that really something that you should be experiencing from your home with a controller in your hand?
It's funny, like, so I think it's cool, you know, of course, as long as it's a good movie, that's all I give a shit about. And I haven't seen Mortal Kombat yet, but like, Mortal Kombat's probably gonna make a good movie. I mean, like, they just need to kick the shit out of each other. So like, that's Godzilla versus Kong. I just want them to fight. That's it. So like, give me Sub-Zero and Scorpion in an epic fight, and I'm pretty satisfied, you know, like. But other stuff, I mean, as long as it's good, like, I think that oftentimes my personal opinion is that when you take a book and turn it into a movie, it's very easy to study the source material in a weekend. Anybody could read, you know, any book in, you know, a weekend, couple days, you know, and that's it. We all know that that's the material, you know. Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. Everybody on that staff read all of Jurassic Park, and then they wrote the script. So like, there wasn't anybody on staff, I'm sure, who was involved with that project early on who didn't read the book. And I'm sure there's instances where there's high-level executives who don't read the book, but that doesn't matter. Like, to put it this way, you could do it easily. Now, if you go in and you're going to make a video game, a movie about a video game, some of these games that they're making, these are like 50-hour experiences minimum, you know? And it's like, who's going to sit down and play that for 50 hours? You know, like, there's a skill barrier. Are you even a gamer? You know, like, can you just jump into this experience and play enough of it and really get it? Do you understand the history of that game, its relevance, the metas? You know, did you get good? Like, that's a lot, man. That's a hard thing to ask of people. I mean, people in that industry, and I know when I worked in there, my gaming was dramatically less. You know, like I was watching movies. I was doing my job. Like I had a job to do. I didn't have time to game as hardcore as I do now. That's the coolest part of my job is I'm allowed to get back to gaming. But like, you know, you're asking these people to go sink 60, 70, 100 hours into an experience just to be able to even write the script. Like, is there a likelihood that a lot of people don't do that and they just get the cliff notes? I would assume so, you know, like, and maybe what impact does that have on the final product? I don't know. You know, it makes it challenging. I'll say that. And I've had really smart people at Bethesda. Their take is to say that, like, if you got a good story to tell, why don't you just put it in the game? Honestly, I don't know that the film medium is the best place that I want to see an expansion of a franchise, a video game franchise that I love. You know, like, yeah, that's it. If I have a really awesome take on Doom and something that we'd like to do with Eternal, you know, like, I kind of want you to play it. You know what I mean? Like, let's just put it in the game. There, I think it's cool, and I think it's really challenging for people to learn the source material.
Yeah, you're bound to piss off a fan base somewhere too. You're gonna get something wrong, just a minor detail.
I mean, shit, we get it wrong with the game, let alone the movie.
Yeah. Gamers too, man. You can't be playing with those people.
Oh man, that's actually another thing too. That's a good point. So, and that's what I really like about games. I think more than film. You bust your ass working on something on a film, and it's on screen for like 20 seconds. Sometimes maybe 3 minutes tops, right? And even when you see it, you know, it's got lighting and atmosphere and the camera's moving and no, I did that thing. Like, you know, nobody really gets a good look at it. In games, I'm spending 50, 60, 70, 100 hours with the thing you design. I know that thing better than you do. I know every inch of that thing. So with that, the gamer is really, really, really informed. The shit that Mayo says about our game, his in-depth, all you guys, your in-depth knowledge, you Cynic, of our game, only comes from playing it as much as you did, and it's kind of hard to play. Like, you're not gonna. I mean, I have watched movies. We all have dozens of times. It's just that's literally how you experience all games. You know, whereas like you might watch a movie once and maybe you don't know a lot about it, and there's the occasional movie you become obsessed with and you watch it like, you know, 5, 6, 7 times. But in a game, you're gonna have to spend 50, 60 hours with it. So everybody is really knowledgeable. Your consumer base is super, super knowledgeable, and as a result, they have a sense of ownership over the product that is really strong, which means they got an opinion and it matters, and they're informed, and you got to listen to them, that's part of the deal. If you were to ask any creative person, would you rather have your audience not really be informed about the thing you made and not know a whole lot about it, or would you rather have them know everything about it and be super passionate about it? It's like, it's not even a contest. Like, you know, yes, I want them super. That's satisfying for us as devs, and so yeah. But that comes with the territory. It's like, cool, they will be. They'll also be super opinionated.
That's motivation to get your shit right.
That's it, dude. That's really it.
Now, I don't want to beat a dead horse here and ask the same question everyone else has, but I think it would be helpful to hear and get a little bit of insight knowledge. As someone that doesn't know the industry, as someone that's guilty of looking at developers and claiming they don't have the passion or the heart to listen to the player base or care about the product that they put out, I'd say it's very easy to feel ignored. And as an example, you know, I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, but that community constantly has something against their devs or each other. You'll always hear complaints of, let's say, a shotgun. That's pretty much all anyone uses. So you hear calls for it to be nerfed. Next thing you know, that shotgun everyone wants nerfed isn't even touched. Another shotgun is buffed, and say an SMG that no one even complained about or even plays with was nerfed. Or in another example, it might be a good alternative to the shotgun, and that was nerfed, leaving everyone scratching their heads wondering what the hell the developers are doing and whether anyone is listening. And in a way, that was kind of the feeling people experienced with the Tag 1 changes. Those seemed out of the blue, and then you throw on top of the Tag 2 not being up to everyone's expectations. I can't applaud you enough for coming forward and actually speaking about it. You don't see too many developers doing that.
What's funny is that was us listening to you guys though. Like, so because the feedback was on the Steam forums and our Steam review, it had moments that were too hard. I mean, I read the Steam reviews, I heard the commentary, I watched the videos, and it was like, hey, this blood swamp shit with the hidden tentacles in this moment right here, this is awful. Like, you know, too many people were like dying to that in ways that went beyond engagement and into just pure frustration. The bridge fight heading into Sammer's boss fight tired people. People walked into that fight tired, you know, like, and so there was like objective, actionable feedback that I got from the community about certain things. The part that went too far was, in addition to that, it was like, why don't we make the opening of UAC Atlantica just a little lighter to ease you into the difficulty? That was not asked for. So that's why that stuff is going to get reverted. But the tentacle hidden shit, I don't want to put that back. Like that, I've just talked to so many people in the community that they're like, dude, dropping a possessed Doom Hunter in Fog or Raktatron and hiding tentacle and putting smoke pods, you know, like those toxic pods, it's all just too much. And the worst part about that is you guys started jumping up on that top pillar and thinking that was the solution to the combat puzzle. That was a direct result of something being tuned from a difficulty perspective way too far, you know. And the Hold Slayer Gate, another thing. You know, that update to that, so that Hold Slayer Gate shipped, and it was too easy. We made it harder in a patch. That dropped our Steam review score by like 8 points. Just that encounter alone. And so I was just like, the message is clear. That is too hard. You know, like, so we have like we had a handful of encounters in Tag 1 that I think took it too far in an unfair way. The Possessed Baron final encounter in Blood Swamps, the one on the right side or left side, whatever, that didn't change because that's fair game. I mean, that's a full-blown arena. You've got all the space in the world to move. Like, do your thing. You know, like, that's the point of that encounter. Sammer boss fight, that's supposed to be challenging. Yeah. You know, like, there's just a bunch of things that we didn't change. But the things that we did change were based on your guys' feedback. The stuff that we didn't need to change, that was the mistake that will be reverted, is the opening of UAC Atlantica. That was not too hard. That was done for pacing purposes only. And I think objectively it makes it better, in my opinion. But ultimately, it's your experience now to own. And I think we just need to put it back. You know, like, that's the joke I made. Like, Lucas making the Jabba updates and yeah, it looks better because he looked terrible, but leave it the way it was. And it's just like, got it, we will do that.
Yeah, I agree. Overall pacing, is, with the exception of UAC facility, is better. But what I was getting at was, there's already a mindset established in this industry. Right or wrong, many people believe devs don't listen. They don't care, they do what they can to make the publisher money, and that's the end of the story. So a lot of people go to lengths, in many instances extreme lengths, that are ultimately uncalled for to attack the devs and even burn down the game that they love. So for a lack of a better word, do you feel id Software unjustifiably was like this lightning rod that absorbed this bubbling frustration that the industry created?
You're absolutely right. Like, that caught me off guard. It was like, hey everybody, like, it's me. We're listening. It's id. Like, you don't have to burn us down to the ground. So let's talk. Like, you know, like, we're all here. Like, come on. I'm in the forums. Like, you know, let's have a conversation. Like, and people talked like we were that studio, that nameless studio, you know,
yeah.
That there's that corporation of nameless people who screwed us. And I'm like, dude, it's me. Like, what are we doing? Like, you don't have to act this way. Like, what's up with these clickbait hate videos? And what was the friggin' most heartwarming thing, dude, was how, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I was definitely hurt. Like, we all were. I was like, dudes, like, all we do is listen to our community, and we're in DLC mode. This stuff is, you know, we're definitely happy to make our community happy. But there was Cynic, you saw it, man. There was a hot second of elitism that creeped in that I was just like, man, we ain't gonna have a good community if this is how it's gonna be. I mean, like, the total truth, man. And I think you experience this too. Like, not everybody is playing mods all day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Doom Eternal, super deep game, meant to be played multiple times, you know, lots of content, awesome. Is it the kind of game that if you're, you know, depending on where you are in your life and your situation, on what platform you're on, that you're sitting there binging on it 24/7 and you could handle 5 Marauders that are possessed? No. Like, and that's a certain kind of content for a certain kind of audience that we fucking love and we care about so much. But when the black belts of the gym start shaming the purple belts, the Doom dads, right? You know, the dudes that are like, hey man, I think Tag 2 is really fun actually, because I don't play Doom like 24/7, and I enjoyed it. You know, like that's what I didn't like. You could say you didn't like it. You could say that it needed to be harder. You could do all those things, but like when you're shaming other people, you know, and you're the black belt in the gym walking around making the dad black belts feel bad, like come on, you know, like we don't need that. And those people are the leaders of the community. I mean, like the best players in Doom Eternal, they're the leaders. I mean, and they set the tone for what our community will feel like. And there was a hot second there where I thought it was getting a little bit elitist. Opinions aside, man, like tell me, like get it. That doesn't change the fact that we shouldn't have touched the opening of UAC Atlantic. I'm not saying we didn't some of the things we did weren't great, but the way it was communicated was off-putting. When the community came back and everybody, like those same leaders came up and said, dude, because it made its way to Steam, and I'm watching us. I'm like, dudes, you're burning down the thing you love. Like, what are you doing? And I'm listening. Like, and it was like with the blood punch stuff, it was constructive. You know, it was Mayo made a video that was amazing. I brought that video about the blood punch and the bugs to Marty, and he was just like, yes, this is great. You know, like we were able to efficiently work with people and get that shit fixed. And when everybody was just making clickbait rage videos, you know, fake out rage videos, it was just like, we can't work with this. I can't bring these to Marty. You know, like to see everybody, dude, inside of like days. That's what was so crazy. It took like days. And the very same people, I just thought the black belts of the community, the leaders of the community rose up, players, people like Mayo, you know, communicators, people like yourself, and just like realigned, dude, and continued to make sure that this community is just a cool place. You know, that was heartwarming. Seriously, that was amazing, honestly. And Marty couldn't be proud. Everybody was just like, damn, all the way up to the tippy top of the corporation. I think people noticed, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it really was that bounce back time. In a matter of a week, everyone tore each other apart, came back, and we're all good. I'm also a believer that relationships get stronger after at least one rough patch. So I think it's kind of good that we kind of got that out of the way.
It's like family, right?
Yeah, it really is.
Got to argue.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good point, Cynic, right? Because like it does. If you could survive it, you come back and you're all closer. You know, and I actually think that happened. I think some of the people who were complaining, I don't think they realized the influence that they had on the community.
So actually, my final question it's a twofer. So
yes,
obviously you guys had some different ideas for the Arachnotron. You guys altered him a little bit. Do you have any other demons you want to alter, or? Actually,
it's a good question. So on the Doom Hunter boss fight. In Doom Hunter base, what is bad design that has not aged well, and I watched this on Twitch, is that he is unaffected by Flame Belch and Ice Bomb. And so what happens to first-time players, and we've got the statistics to prove this, is that you know, and I know, that Ice Bomb and Blood Punch are critical to destroying Doom Hunter. For me, I don't even engage Doom Hunters until I have an Ice Bomb. So, and that's good. He's like the Ice Bomb tutorial. Well, the first fucking time you meet him, he doesn't get affected by Ice Bomb, and what that's teaching players is that doesn't work against him. And then the fact that every Doom Hunter that you face after that is affected by the Ice Bomb is horrendous design. Like, which that is 2,000% my fault. I just think that has not aged well, and what I'd like to do is make it so that thing is affected by Ice Bomb, balance it accordingly so you can't trivialize the fight, but I don't think you can. We've been playtesting it, and like, yes, it's gonna make it easier, but like, it at least teaches you that. Like, let that boss fight be the thing that teaches players the value of Ice Bomb, because the Ice Bomb is actually kind of like an interesting... Ice Bomb to me is black belt. Like, when I see a player on Final Sin on Twitch for their first playthrough, and they're using the Ice Bomb like it's roped in, like they can switch between equipment items, that's top tier play. Tag 1 demands that you know how to switch between equipment items, and switching equipment is definitely like black belt level skill, because that's, you know, it's a lot to manage. What the Doom Hunter should be doing is teaching people the value of switching between equipment items and using Ice Bomb, and he doesn't. Like, so I think that should be changed. I was going to actually put it out there to the community on the official Reddit forum to do like a poll, but I really want to communicate that early to the fans and be like, this is why I want to do this. So let's use your video to do this. We can ask the question down below. Go ahead. As they say, comment in chat. I think the fact that he doesn't get affected by Ice Bomb is teaching new players not to use the Ice Bomb against him. And all of you pro players out there know that that is so stupid. So that is something that I would like to change. And then on lower difficulties, Hurt Me Plenty and I'm Too Young to Die, slowing down his projectiles just a little bit for low skill players. His projectile speed is insanely fast, like, and great for high skill players, but I don't think it's great for low skill players. So on low skill difficulties, we're going to lower his projectile speed. I was going to fuck with the tracking on the Archvile's ground furrows because I think it's bullshit, but we will leave that the way it is. Oh, the tracking on the speed of the ground furrow attacks on easy will get slower for the Archvile, because I see that a lot, that like the one size fits all tracking speed of the Archvile's ground furrows is unfair, you know, for lower skill players. So yeah, just some adjustments for like, dude, those are the lifeblood of our experience. Those are the white belts. Those are the new members to the gym. We have to be good to them. You know, like, we've got to be inviting to them, because the white belt who is learning how to beat Doom Hunters on you know, today are the black belts in Prote's mod tomorrow. So like, we need those people.
How have you taken the reception for the Cursed Prowler?
I mean, good. We're changing it. You know, like, he's meant to be a real piece, a moment of engagement for high skill players, you know, something that really commands your attention. But two things stood out to me that have not aged well. The fact that he makes no noise when he enters into the arena is just bad. That's it. You know, we own it. Bad. And then he should give you a blood punch automatically if you don't have one. That's it. Like, I like, and I think the drama, so when I watch people play, the drama around the Cursed Prowler when they're cursed is great. I love it. It's challenging, blah, blah, blah. There's not a lot of them. That Cursed Prowler, man, there's 4 of them in the whole experience, because that is the spiciest of all chili peppers. If you have too many of those in the sauce, that shit is ruined. So I think he should make a noise when he comes in, so you know he's there, and he should automatically give you a blood punch so you don't have to farm for one while you're cursed. Having said that, what I am seeing right now is that on the randomized mods, the randomizers, guys, my suggestion, do what you want. It's your content. Don't have those guys on the randomizer. Like, for us as designers, we can't have too many of those. Like, when we have 2 Cursed Prowlers or a Cursed Prowler in the wrong situation, that shit sucks. And so what's happening right now is the top tier players are fighting 2 and 3 Cursed Prowlers one after the other in an arena, and then another section, another section. That's awful. Like, you're not going to like that character. That's not how that is supposed to be used. And so that's where I think, like, that he's getting a bad name in some of those situations, because he's being overused. So yeah, a couple of improvements to be made there, and we'll make them. And then my request to the modders, but take my opinion with a grain of salt. It is your experience. Don't put too many of those in there. Don't let that be a part of the randomizer. I think it kind of overuses that AI. I could say that of, honestly, the spirits and the blood angels too. The blood angels are very similar. Like, you got to be really careful when you use a lot of those. That they can ruin the experience. They can make the experience really engaging, but you do like too many of those in a row, dude. You're just like, I'm so sick of this.
So that concludes the third and final part of my interview with Doom Eternal's game director, Hugo Martin. Final big thank you to Hugo and community manager Joshua Boyle for organizing this, and thank you to everyone else that stuck around with myself and Doom Eternal through this insanity that was the year 2020. But until next time, I'll see y'all later.